pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and I believe Rick and Richard have a guest today. Would you guys like to introduce your guest, please? Oh, hey, there they go. Richard, would you like to introduce your guest?
This is Richard Johnson. He's going to be 7 for us whenever we EK 7.
Hi, so how's everybody doing? Did you notice that when you guys said the Pledge of Allegiance, it said "in liberty and justice for all"? How expensive is justice? Usually it's about $200 to $300 an hour. I love it when I come to a group and I'm speaking and they say the Pledge of Allegiance, because I'm a Rotarian also, and we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I apologize, I took a little piece of food in my mouth, so I'll pretend like I'm on HGTV or something. So there. I'm really going to focus on kind of one thing today. You know, I've got a screen sheet out. We've been coming here for quite some time. We've got 2 great benefits. And I forgot, I think some of you don't remember, or I didn't tell you, Legal Shield used to be prepaid legal. We just changed our name, changed our look, same great services. I'm going to give you just a couple bullet points so you remember what you can get from your Legal Shield. But you really will get equal justice for all for as little as $15.95 a month to cover your whole family. We've been doing that for 41 years. If you look at the kind of the bullet points on here, with your Legal Shield, you have access for one flat monthly fee to all the attorneys you might ever need, both on and off the job. I know a lot of times when I go into companies, there's people that own property outside their work. They have a business outside their work. But we have business and personal attorneys. In fact, in Oklahoma, we have over 125 attorneys at one law firm, and they specialize in every area of law. So whether you need an attorney for a traffic ticket, whether you need an attorney for a credit matter, whether you need an attorney just to ask questions, maybe you're thinking about separation or something like that, you get all the consultation you want for that one flat monthly fee. They'll write letters on your behalf, they'll make phone calls on your behalf, they'll review your contracts on your behalf. All that doesn't cost you a penny on your $15.95 a month. My favorite part of Legal Shield, because I'm a parent like many of you are, and whether you're a parent or not, our attorneys will create for you a will, living will, and durable power of attorney. That's always included in your Legal Shield package. And that will does cover you and a spouse or significant other. You each get your own separate will, no extra cost. The attorneys will update it once a year. Really, really important, because, you know, we live in Oklahoma. All we got to do is look down the road. You know, a tornado could come through. You could be on your way to work one day and then be taken out of the picture really pretty quick. And that will is going to protect your kids, which are your most valuable asset. Because, you know, unless you've got it in writing and in a will, it's not legal. And, you know, even if you wanted your favorite sister, aunt, uncle, brother to take care of your kids, unless they're a will, kids will go through foster care. That can take a year or 2 living with various families before they get to the family you really intended them to live with. Really, really important. But again, like I said, I just spoke to a group of health underwriters, and I'm not going to talk, this was an hour talk, I'm going to talk for about 5-10 more minutes. But I really wanted to stress the importance of your consideration of getting at least your identity theft protection in place. Anybody that decides to do that today, I'm going to do a drawing of a quick trip card. If you make that decision, paperwork's very, very simple. You guys know that. So I'm going to pull out some of my favorite pieces of this talk that I gave. This was about 200 health underwriters. We get our information from the FBI, so pretty accurate. You know, the problem with identity theft is you're guilty and you're until proven innocent. And the problem for you and I, you may have some product in place now. There's some companies like LifeLock, they're doing a lot of advertising. But what they don't tell you is they don't fix it. They just take your money, and when you have a problem, they're going to give you a do-it-yourself fix-it kit and say good luck. I'm going to talk more about that as I cover a couple of the highlights here, but they mean well, but they don't fix it. It can take you 400 to 600 hours to fix it on your own, and who wouldn't have the expertise to do that? I wouldn't, and I've been bringing this product out for 15 years. Not only would I not know how to do it, I wouldn't want to do it. But our company, when you have an identity theft issue, they will actually repair it on your behalf at no extra cost. That's the big difference. If you remember nothing else, and again, I invite you to get yourself and your family covered, because this is also the only service that's going to cover your kids also. Identity thieves love children's information. They'll take this just happened in Tulsa, they'll take a 3-year-old's social security number, they can use it till that kid turns 16 or 17 when they try to open their first credit file. So the parents won't even know, and by then the child's life is just totally messed up. 80% of victims will need an attorney. That's why many families get the legal shield with their identity theft coverage. There's nowhere to hide. People have said to me now for 15 years, they'll say, well, Wendy, I don't shop online. Now, 15 years ago that was true. Almost everybody shops online. But whether you shop online or not, all your data, and you're actually in way more than 50 databases, all your data is out there, from the first school you went to whatever church, to your utilities, to your phone. Your data is out there in some database, and you can't get it back. It's out there. So a good hacker, a good identity thief, can break in, take your data, and use it for all sorts of bad stuff. Can't stop it. You just got to be proactive and have somebody watching your back all the time. Okay, what does Sandra Bullock have to do with identity theft? Give me a picture, yes?
So deleted.
If any of you are old enough to remember the movie The Net. Okay, awesome movie. That movie's almost 20 years old. Here's the storyline of the movie. Sandra Bullock and Dennis Miller were in it. And I'm giving you like the Cliff Note version of the history of identity theft as we know it. She's a brilliant programmer in this movie. She works from home. She gets all of her stuff from her co-workers who email her stuff. And one of her co-workers one day said, there's something really, really wrong. He said, I'm sending you a disc because there's this bad company, I think. They're trying to sell the government, and we don't want to talk about government particularly, a program that I think that it will allow the bad guys to steal people's information. Now, this is 20 years ago, guys. You know, life imitates art. Life imitates art, right? Whoops, let me back, sorry. So, but between the time he overnights the disc to her and she gets it, he mysteriously gets killed in a plane crash. Then, the bad guys figure out who she is. They change her data so that she shows up as a prostitute. So not only does she have the bad guys chasing her, but she's got the cops chasing her. Then they make it look like, because these are identity thieves, that she has not paid her mortgage for 8 months. So her house gets sold out from under her. And again, the movie turns out better than you expect. But here's the point of me telling you about this 20-year-old movie. All those things that I just mentioned are actually happening to friends and coworkers, people you know or have heard of today. You know, life imitates art. It really is happening to people. The hackers can get that information. You guys maybe have heard this because a lot of you are teachers. In about the last year, there's been 3 teachers arrested for prostitution while they're teaching in school. That somebody walks in, they get arrested for prostitution. I don't know if that's a favorite thing for the bad guys to do, but it really just happened. The last one was in Texas. Same thing with, anybody ever see Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks? This movie, yeah, Steven Spielberg movie. Excellent movie. Somebody likes movies like me. This was, I think 2002, yeah, 2002, about a guy, young guy, who impersonated being a lawyer, a doctor, a cop, a whole bunch of other things, and stole tons and tons and tons of money. It's happening today. Born identities, also rich with identity, that stuff. Anybody see this? It's recent. Melissa McCartney, she's very funny. Here's what I didn't notice this when I put together this PowerPoint. See what it says right here? She's having the time of his life. Funny movie, but bad outcome. Because you usually, identity thieves, there's only about a 1 to 2% conviction rate. The cops can't do anything. That's why we suggest people have your own identity theft program. Our identity theft product to cover just you and your spouse, if that's just or a significant other, it's $12.95 a month. I think that's, how much is that a day? Who's the math people? 50 cents, less than 50 cents a day to protect your life. You work hard. I know you guys you have great staff, great management at school. I go to a lot of companies, but that's to protect all of you work for. Because our product will, and that's just the 6 most common kind of identity theft. These are some companies, you all know, you recognize those logos. That's just a little teeny piece of companies that have been hacked into. Anybody ever been to McDonald's? You take the food, you drove through for somebody else. We recently had a McDonald's hacked in Tulsa. Some guy outside of McDonald's hired him. And guess what? I used to have my cell phone with me. So guess what this little guy did? Over a 2-month time period, he took pictures of 247 people's debit and credit cards. And then the bad guy who he was working for spent over $400,000 worth of people's money off those debit and credit cards. Could that happen to you? It's really good. It's really, and financial identity theft is only about 20% of identity theft. That's places, I mean, that's some of the 50 places where your data is already out there. And again, what we do that nobody else does, we monitor, give you first of all, an up-to-date credit report so you can kind of see where you stand. If there's any things that shouldn't be on there, our folks at no extra cost will help you get those off. I just sold a claim to a gentleman who had a small business. There was some stuff on his credit report that didn't belong there. Our attorneys helped him get those things off, and his credit score went up 42 points, and it didn't cost him any extra money. I talked about, okay, anybody know where the Cayman Islands are? Anybody know where Cuba is? Cuba? Little teeny island right below Cuba. 50,000 people. Their newspaper picked up an article from Japan about identity theft on Facebook. Is anybody in this room not on Facebook? There is a link. There is a link, by the way, on the 5 top things you can do to help protect your identity on Facebook. Because even if you're not on Facebook, there's other places that you can be found. That's a McDonald's guy. That was just happened in Tulsa. And that ring. Man was taking a test drive for a BMW. He got stopped. And he was being accused of identity theft, taking a test drive. Wouldn't that be pleasant? You can have it. Let me move on here. I'm about done. As I said before, your kids, I cannot express, to cover your kids, if you just did it for the identity theft, we will cover up to 8 children. Does anyone here have more than 8 children? Okay. I just sold a plan to a guy that has a dozen. He thought he won the lottery. But if we cover your children, it's a grand whopping total of $13.95 a month. $1 for up to 8 more children. Okay, you spouse, significant other. Because it can make, and for you too, it can make your taxes worse. It can make you impossible to get utilities if your identity is messed up. It's a multitude of things. I'm going to just show this briefly because I'm really done. Legal Shield, and this price is not your price. That's when we go out and sell it to individuals. But when we come into companies, it's at a steep discount. It is the only one that does complete restoration. I call it repair. Restoration is just way too big of a word. But as I said before, at no extra cost, we'll give you a live human being who will talk you through the repair. I'll give you one simple other story. It's happened to my own son, 22-year-old son. He was updating his passport. We live on one side of the Arkansas River, and the tag office is on the other side. So we drove across there. You have to drive your birth certificate to get your passport updated. He came back and he stopped at my office and he looked like, he's this very calm young man, but he had this horrible look on his face. I was on the phone and I kind of finished up my phone call. I said, what in the world's going on? He said, you're probably going to be upset about this. You know, when your kid says that, you kind of go, oops. He said, somewhere between the tag office and our house, I've lost my birth certificate. And he said, I've driven back and forth. He's got a sunroof, so I'm too loud. And I kind of, you know, I've seen a few things in my life, and I wasn't too concerned. And so I said, so you've looked, and you've driven back and forth, and then he went back, oh yeah, I did all that kind of stuff. And then the next words out of my mouth, we'll call our identity. He has the service, of course. And he said, I've already called them. They actually gave me an additional checklist, and then they put in some extra measures. And he said, well, the reason I thought you might be upset, he said, Mom, he said, you remember that your name and Dad's name are on my birth certificate. Well, then it came a little bit more personal. So anyway, I was able to talk to a live human being. We only deal with live human beings who are ex-FBI agents or ex-CIA agents. And they, again, put some extra safeguards, even though you are being monitored daily with their identity theft service. So that's what I've got for you guys today. If anybody has any questions, yes?
Do you have a plan for single people? Do
Say-
you have a place for single people?
We do not. Ours is very, very low priced, but we don't have a plan for single people. Sorry. Any other questions? All right, and if, like I say, I put an application, I've got more of those. If it makes sense on either one or both services, I'll be around for a little bit. Fill that out, give it to me, and I'll toss your name in a hat for a gift card. Okay?
And I thank our guest speakers on his way in. It's Jody Birch, and he is the interim director. Oh, now we have Sue right here. With the another one. Jody.
How's everybody doing? Good. Sorry for my tire. I've been out on the ranch this morning getting ready for sporting play tomorrow. And so I just got right in, so my hair's a little wind blown. I probably have some straw and hay on me while I was out there. But anyway, appreciate you having us in there. We love partnership with Tri-County Tech. We've got a son who goes here. Anybody Reese Birch's teacher? He's a problem. You need to see me. He's in networking and he does the robotics, but he'll be here this afternoon. So anyway, I enjoy Tri-County Tech and what you do for my kids, but then what you do for kids and the opportunities that they have. I know you deal with kids, and you probably want to know how United Way and the agencies that we do, that we have, support kids. You all should have a brochure, and you can look in here, and in here are the 14 different agencies that receive money from us. They actually operate 35 different programs that benefit the community, all the way from Agape to the YMCA, to the Boys and Girls Club that takes care of kids, to elder care that takes care of seniors. We kind of impact the entire community. And so when you think about your students, and you think about those that are there, from those who are in high school all the way up to your to the college kids, college age kids, many of them are probably in some of those dire straits. And I used to work closely with one of your former counselors who used to just get involved in the community, and I know probably other counseling staff do, but to be able to plug kids in to meet needs. And so, when you talk about the things that are out there, Mary Martha is a great one that really meets a huge need in our community that helps with food and clothing for families that aren't quite making it. If they're able to get their food and their clothing there, they've got a little bit more cash and income to be able to pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep the heat going, and the air conditioner going. When we talk about the things that impact our students, we've got several different after-school programs and summer programs that work with kids to just help them in their grades, help them to get through to the next grade level. Besides grades and helping them there, they're also working with them in character education and helping them to become better citizens. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, how many many of you were involved in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts when you were kids? We got some Eagle Scouts in here. Yeah. So the lessons that they teach are just kind of huge when it talks about making people that benefit our community. And so you can see we've helped kids, we help seniors. I know some of you may have parents that may even use elder care, or you have aging parents, and you see that they need some help and they can receive services there in elder care. So what United Way does is help a broad range in our community. Besides just handing out money, the other benefit of giving to United Way is, number one, it helps all of these agencies, and so your $1 kind of gets spread around to 35 different programs. But the other thing that United Way does, you see us out, you see our brochures, you see our billboards. 3 months out of the year, people say, "What do you do the rest of the year?" You got a pretty sweet job, right? Kind of like, what do you guys do in the summer, right? You got a vacation, that's it. So you know those stories. So what do we do the rest of the time? It's really working with our agencies to hold them accountable. We've asked our agencies this year, well, over the last 3 years, we've kind of made a switch. Our agencies have always reported, here's what we do with the money. We see this many kids, we serve this many meals, we hand out this many sacks of groceries, we do this many hours of counseling. And so they've reported what we call outputs. We've done this many things. But what we really ask them to do now is, how has what you have done made a difference in the life of the people that you served? And so our agencies are now doing what's called outcome measures. I know you guys have had outcome measures your entire careers, right? Called grades. Yeah, we've taught, we've presented lesson plans, we've done these things. Well, how do we know if what you've done is worked well? Well, turn in grades. That way we know if your kids have done well, and if you, a teacher or staff, have taught the students. Well, that's what we're doing with our agencies. All right, we know you've done a lot of things, but now really, how has what you've done made a difference? And so, obviously, when we talk about tutoring programs, it's grades. Are they progressing to the next level on time? When it's about counseling sessions, they have a base level when they come into counseling, and did they complete all of the goals and treatment plans along the way? How are they on the way out? Some of our outcomes are pretty simple. If I walk into a place hungry and I walk out fed, then my life has made a difference. Salvation Army, one of our programs, and they help people with bills, one-time gas assistance and rent assistance or utility assistance. What they do is now they measure recidivism, because they started seeing, hey, they can get help once a year, and guess what? They got help in January. They showed up the next January, and so they said, okay, we've got a systemic problem. We need to work with them, and before they get funding, we work with them on budgeting. And so now they measure to see how many people don't come back, which is kind of their goal. Maybe they've done something to make a difference in their way they spend and the way they budget, so that they don't need that help the following year. So those are the kind of things that United Way is asking our agencies to do, and we're actually holding our agencies accountable. Another piece of that accountability is through the application process. We have what's called a Community Investment Committee. I know Jamie served on that. Anybody else from you guys who served on that? Right there. Oh, there's Kim. Anybody else? We need to get some more of you guys serving on that. Work on that, man. Or Wendell, you can get them. Wendell, I'll tell you what to do. Vaughn told you. Anyway, what that process does really is looks at our agencies to make sure that they're doing what they say they're doing with the money, make sure that they're a fiscally accountable agency, they're running well, and then they're looking at these outcomes to say, okay, we are making a difference with the money. So those are the kind of things that your dollars do through United Way as they're impacting the community. So you know that your dollars spent well, you know that your dollars are making a difference. I guess I can open it up for a couple minutes of questions. Any questions? You can always go to Lyndall's office, because he's on our board and he knows all the answers. All right, Jamie.
What's your goal for this year, Tony?
Our goal this year, $1,850,000. And so, and the way we come about getting that goal is all of our agencies say, here's the money we need. And so we go through the whole process that I told you about, accountability process. We have committees, we have over 80 volunteers that do review that. So they come up with, this is what the agency says they need, this is what we think we ought to give them. And many times it's exactly that, or it may be what they did before, or they may decide to cut it, depending on their need. And then we develop our goal based on that. And so it's not, I think we can come up with 1.8 million. What do you think? It really is, there is kind of a science behind it, and it addresses the need. So it's not about stockpiling, it's not about getting as much as we can, because we could probably get 1.85 million. But that's what we need going on forward. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, my information is in here, so you can always shoot me an email and or give me a call, and if you have questions that come up. We appreciate Tri-County. We appreciate your involvement in the United Way and your donations, and in our events. We got third in volleyball. Put my hand on that. Great job on our tournament. And I just got finished putting up a Tri-County sign in front of the one of the stations at the sporting play event. So y'all are listed on the t-shirt and everything to sponsor that. So thank you for that. So, appreciate you guys.
Okay, so I think most of us in here know the drill on how this works. We have a few door prizes as well. So I think Jody pretty much summed it up. I do appreciate you touching on how they do have accountability and where their money is going and how it does affect our students and our students' families. So there's many agencies out there that our students are using now. And so I think it's important that we support United Way. So I'm going to have a few volunteers stand up and collect our forms. If you didn't bring any, I do have a few extra. After all of this, so I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Bills.
That's for me or Heather? Happy Friday, everybody. Beautiful day. Everybody ready for the weekend? Yes. Me too. Well, we have a lot to talk about today, so I'm going to be brief in my remarks, but I want to introduce somebody. We have the pleasure to have our best, brightest, best-looking board member here today. Greenwood, of course, comes to our Friday forums every now and then, and her schedule freed up, and Deanne invited her. Thank you, Deanne. And so she got to make it today, so she gets to see what we do just about every day of the week, so just so you know. Okay, so the board meeting last night, I'm going to bring you up to speed on that, and just give you a few highlights. We adopted a new policy manual last evening. It's been an 8-month labor of love that I've primarily been working on. Tri-County, as of today, has 184 policies. I know, right? That's down by about 35 or 40 policies, or not. So this policy book gets us in line. It's done in conjunction with our law firm, so it gets us in line with all the state laws, so we are in good shape. There could be some redundancies, but we're going to roll that out in the next couple of weeks. No major changes to our day-to-day process. But we do have policies that are actually in line with the law now, so I thought that's probably a good thing. Also last evening, we had 2 fantastic presentations, and I want you to give these guys a hand. David, Chef David, gave a great update on the culinary arts program. So I had one of those days yesterday where, just things one on top of the other, and I saw on the board information, David had 18 slides, and I looked at Dean, and I was like, what in the hell are you thinking? I didn't see it either. I'm like, but he got right through them. He did good, buddy. 18 slides is like a no-no. So, speaking of yesterday, and you have those days, one thing after another, and we've been working on this policy manual for 8 months, and it comes down to like 30 minutes before the board meeting. We have to get everything on table of content. So I left our attorneys, man, is Michelle sitting for you. So I was just like, Michelle, can you get this next policy done? Can you get that to me? Okay, love you, bye. Love you, bye. I mean, not love you, Michelle, I mean, bye. Of course, then you try to explain it, it makes it even worse. Let's see if our bill comes out any better. Dan calls me Chad all the time, by the way. And I call her Leanne, so great place to work. Also yesterday, like 2 hours before board meeting, Eric gets from me a packet of information about our new master plan that I'm not going to share with you today because we have some great slides that will take me through all of it. But he hadn't been through the slides and he presented to the board. Didn't he do a great job? Great job, Eric. Just 2 more things for me, and then we're going to pass it on to Tiffany for a personnel update. But one of the personnel things I want to bring to your attention, probably heard the rumors, Dennis Cash has resigned from Tri-County Technology Center, and the board acted on that last Thursday, I believe, at a special board meeting, and that is official. So Dennis is on to doing new and different things, so we wish Dennis well. If you have any questions about that, if you'll let me or Tara or Tiffany know, we'll be happy to try to answer those for you. And then finally, yesterday was a big day for us, so I'm going to keep the suspense going. Of course, yesterday was our announcement for our Baldridge Award, and Tammy's going to tell you all about that in about, I don't know, 16 or 17 minutes. Is that right, Tim? Hang on that long. So, this has been a big week, so I'm going to stop there. Any questions for Lyndall? Nope. All right, Tiffany, you're on deck. Let's go.
Last night for our personnel update. Last month, you'll remember, they approved the business office administrative assistant position. So last night, they approved Tammy Flynn for that position. Is Tammy in here? She's on a conference, already at a conference today. So Tammy has been with us for 5.5 years doing work study in the business office. She completed her bachelor's degree at Rogers State, and as Kelsey can attest, being temporary for 5 years is a long time. So they approved her to go to permanent last night. We also approved for Shannon. I want to introduce Shannon Barsby. You'll see her. Shannon is our fitness and wellness specialist, and she has been creating lots of spreadsheets for Kim for the needs for the fitness center, and just doing a lot of research to get the equipment done. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But last night they approved, we hired Shannon full-time, and after she was hired, she found out she was expecting, and it's in the water. So be careful drinking the water around here. But last night, our board graciously approved for her to go back to temporary, because if you haven't been employed somewhere for 12 months, you don't qualify for FMLA leave. You also don't qualify for shared sick leave, so we're not able to share our sick leave with Shannon. So that she will have a job after baby comes and after she has maternity leave. The board graciously let us take her back to temporary status. So we are a great place to work. We also approved moving Kathy Taylor from temporary to permanent last night. Kathy is in the pilot notice program with Heather. And she's been with us over 2 months and doing a great job in the pilot program, so they moved her to full-time status, permanent status. Then they also finally approved an extra duty contract for Scott Sutherland, because he has been driving the bus for us in the mornings from Pawhuska. The kiddos over here from Pawhuska, and then after school he drives the bus back over. And then Seth, midday, will take the kiddos back over to Pawhuska. So we approved that for him. And then 2 other personnel items that were not on the board agenda last night, but that will be coming up soon, is we have hired a counselor, a temporary counselor. Her name is Elaine Gott, and she's retired from Bartlesville Public Schools. She'll be starting after fall break, and she'll be in Ryan Lyons' old office. She'll have Ryan's phone number, and she'll have an email address, and she'll be a student resource for us. And then also, I'm sad to say, I think we have announced LeBlan's retirement before, but in the next couple of weeks, we will be posting her position, payroll benefits specialist. So if you know anyone that fits the criteria that can maybe fill LeBlan's shoes, which will be hard to do, let them know that position will be posted soon. She's not. Nobody was loud. Okay, so October work anniversaries, moving right along. We have Gary Wesson, who has been here 1 year. Zeth has been with us 3 years already. either one of them? Or your name tag on the right. And always have a smile and greet our guests when you see them anywhere on campus. And especially now, with our construction going on the west side, to dental hygiene patients, please greet them and escort them to the dental hygiene clinic. Don't just give directions, it gets confusing and they get lost. So, customer service tip number 3. When you dealt with a customer or coworker anyone, and they tell you thank you for whatever you have done to help them, you have 3 responses that really sound a lot better than just saying, you're welcome. You can say, absolutely. Thank you for helping me do this. Oh, absolutely. Or, my pleasure. Chick-fil-A is famous. They say my pleasure a lot. And of course, which really, it has a nice ring to it. Thank you for helping me do that. Of course. Well, yeah, I would do that anyway. Of course I would do that. So that's customer service tip number 3. Something for you guys to kind of maybe change the way you respond to thank you. And we have to thank Mr. Fields for that one. He got those tips for us this past weekend. He had some great customer service experiences. Well, without further ado, I'll unless Tammy, you want to go down the agenda. Whatever you want.
Okay. I can't relax. Okay. Oh, that's another one. Are we ready? Do we have a drum roll? We found out yesterday that we received the Oklahoma Achievement Award from the Oklahoma Quality Award Foundation. All of us and everyone that helped contribute to that. They also gave us an award that we didn't even apply for, and I didn't even know it was an award, that they gave us a Best Practices Award for workforce and leadership development. And I thought that was just absolutely outstanding. They said we did such a great job in that. They wanted to reward us for that. So that means we got an A+ in that. So again, thank you so very much. We will receive our feedback report. Remember our little timeline. I'm not showing it today because we're kind of in a hurry. We'll receive our feedback report at the end of November. Then we will begin to rewrite and refocus our application to see what improvements we need to make from our consultants that were here to go on to our next round of our application. So thank you all very much, and I think I have some white license to give out. But thank you. It's very, very good news. Vanna's going to give out some White Bison awards today. Hi, Vanna. Bison Roadbush. Where's Bison?
He wants to speak. He had to go out.
He had to go out. Okay. Yay, Bison. Oh, he still gets his candy bar out. Kelsey Wyatt. Does she have Remember, White Bison is the highest award that we could give each other for exemplary practice of our values, Susan Peterson. She gets one every time. Colleen Seals. Is Mark here? Mark Butler, I didn't see Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. And Jean. I saw Jean in her orange shirt somewhere today. And now I believe Larry has our strategy center up there.
I'll make this quick. Again, thank you for your support of the Strategy Center. We always appreciate what y'all do for us, and hopefully we represent you well. Kind of in that light, rather than talking about individual staff and all of their accomplishments and kudos that they've gotten. What we're trying to do now at the Strategy Center is to make sure that people in this building, you know, sometimes we call it the big house, but in this building, that y'all know what we're doing. And so with that in mind, we're going to start with some new initiatives, be able to invite you over to our place, let you see where we work, that you kind of see how we do things. So when the call comes in and it says, we need to know if this class is available, you can say, well, that's customized, the strategy center does that. But just to keep you more informed, Sandy's also come up with a good idea about inviting you over to our, what we call food for thought, that Tanya and Tara do over in Huskisson Chamber. And to kind of get you more familiar with the Huskisson, let them see your face so they'll know that Tri-County is involved over there. Sometimes, again, we kind of get ourselves separated. One other thing really quick. We talked about this being a great place to work. We all know it is. What we would like to help do is make this a great place to do business with. So in that light, the customer service thing, Tiffany's been putting together, we like this when someone comes in, Darlene's just growing in this respect as far as helping them have a great experience here. So we try to give the students a great experience, but also like to give our clients and other customers a great experience. Thank you.
I failed to mention in my report, but I'm glad Larry got up here, that as part of our alignment and our evolving processes, Larry's responsibilities have been expanded. Larry's now the president of the Strategy Center and the director of the Office of the Business Development Center. So anything that's going on with the Office of the Business Development Center, Larry is your man. So thank you for that, Larry. And that's all. You can clap.
Here we are as of yesterday. The top's still all the same. We're still projected for a $2,402,000 carry forward. As of yesterday, we collected almost $4,200,000. If we still spend everything, we're still in the hole, $5,200,000. So let's not do that right now. And we still need to collect $7,623,000 to hit our goal. From that, $1,800,000 is going to come from the formula, and we still have that $4,200,000 from ad valorem, which you guys know in January that number will start coming down. So for us, what's left to collect, we have $1,529,000. So our bar chart went down a little bit, not quite as big of a jump as it was the month before, but that's okay. We're not going to see that, every month like that, but we're still headed in the right direction. And then here's my little chart that we understand. The 246 on the blue line means that that's what we collected between last month and this month. We collected $246,000. So now on average is the red line. We need to collect $191 every month from now to the end of the year, and we'll still hit our goals. That's all. Anything on financial? I'll go to fitness facility real quick. Oh, those are the right pictures. Oh, there we go. Yay! Okay, so this was as of this morning. I ran over and took a couple of pictures to get some new updated ones. So this is as you walk in the door there, like we're used to when you walk in the workforce. So this is going to be, that'll be Shannon's desk where she'll be sitting, or I may have to move down there after you see the next picture. Well, this is the aerobic. I will not be on that floor. So this will be the aerobic workout area, and they've got all the mirrors there installed now so that whenever we want to teach any kind of yoga or Zumba or whatever, there'll be a TV2 mounted. See the outlets at the top of the mirrors there. We'll have a television mounted there so that in case we don't have a live instructor, we can put somebody on that television screen. This is the video I was talking about. So this is sitting at Shannon's desk. These are our bottle fillers. I know it has been a big question. Don't look at the bottom. This is the handicap shower, so they're not all gonna have that little fold-down seat there for you, if you will. But I'm mainly for the glass doors, because they got the doors put up between yesterday and today, so I wanted to get a shot with it. This is one of the showers.
There's another door.
Yeah. No, you gotta sit there behind the glass door. I've lost you guys. Okay. So this is the wooden doors, Jolene, that will be on the outside. So when you walk out of the shower at your glass door, you have a dressing area behind this closed door. So that way there's hooks and everything for you to hang your clothes on. So when you come out, you have a bench seat you can sit on and get dressed. So the doors, I thought, looked absolutely beautiful. They finally got them. Here's the locker room. We have a bunch of doubles, and then on each side are full-size ones. The plan there was in case we ever decide to put a physical therapy program or something in across the hall from that. We have 18 smaller lockers on men and women, so that's 36, that we could actually sign those out and check them out for a student and still have full-length ones to accommodate all of our staff when they're in there. So we had to kind of think ahead of time there for what may come down the pipeline later. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's moving along. Monday we're going to do a walkthrough on it. So that means we'll walk through and make sure that we don't see anything that we think needs to be fixed, and we'll sticker it and whatever we feel that they need to take care of. If there's any changes, they'll make those changes, and then we'll go from there. We've got the equipment is all ordered. Eric and I got all the big stuff going. Shannon has been working tirelessly on all the list of all the little operational stuff for us, like the dumbbells and the mats and the supplies to stock the bathrooms with the towels and such. So we're still working on that. We're hoping that we can maybe have some kind of a little soft opening maybe in December to where you guys could start getting in there to work out. And then Tiffany's planning a big blowout opening deal for us in January. So New Year's resolutions. Awesome. And then we'll all not use the program. Okay, bright ideas. Superintendent, I'll call you Pat. I won't call you Sam. If you would like to tell about your bright idea when I say it, you're more than welcome. I emailed them, we got one response back, and if you don't want to, I'll be happy to tell too. Lori Malson.
My idea was similar to what Kim does every month. She gives us financial updates, so we know exactly where we stand money-wise, and I thought it would be good for Tara to do that for the foundation.
Kendall Baker. Kendall had the idea on student of the month interviews for the committee to provide a short, maybe just a one-paragraph feedback to the students, because they don't really know how they did in that interview, and that sometimes is their only interview time with the experience that they get. So that was a great idea, so we can give those students a little bit of help to maybe help them on future endeavors as well. And Forensic Hester.
My idea was to include all the partner school contacts in our emergency call out, so when we're closing school for snow or if we have a lockdown or whatever, the partner schools know and are aware of that when it comes time for their students. They can kind of help with that.
And Shane James.
We have a lot of students that go across from the manufacturing building to the main building through the plaza. We have traffic that goes through there, so I thought it was a good idea to have more yield, some signage or a crosswalk through there to help protect some of those students walking through that area.
And thank you to Scott's guys. They helped make those signs for us. So. That's all I got.
Lori Malson, your wish is my command. I did think of something though when they were just talking about Shane's bright idea. And there's probably about half the room, y'all that were here when Dr. Bear was here. You guys remember him? And we got those speed bumps. You remember that? Oh my gosh. I think after 4 or 5 people ripped the front end off their cars that they decided, and he sent Leland out with the forklift thing, and he plowed them over and took them off because they were so high that your car was ripped to shreds. I'm glad that wasn't your right idea. Okay, next one. For foundation, I just wanted to take a little bit of time, not only to tell you the money part of it, but I think each month when we do this, I'll give you a little additional information about the foundation so everybody feels well informed. So right now, our foundation, as far as the assistance that we provide, it either comes through full-time, short-term, emergency assistance, or supplies. The way that this happens is the foundation funds, they come through distribution areas. For short-term, it actually is handled by Erica and her staff. Full-time, Corinza and her staff. Emergency assistance is through Kim and her staff, and the student supplies through the business office. And what I want you to know on the, I'll give a little more description. Short-term, this is where we have the adult training classes such as AMET, such as CNA, CMA, EMT classes that run through Erica and her group. Full-time is Corinza with our daytime, full-time programs that are scholarships, tuition scholarships for both of these. That's how those are distributed. The student supplies, currently this is determined off of whether a student qualifies for free and reduced lunches. So if a student qualifies for free and reduced lunches, then they also would qualify for help with their classroom supplies whenever they come here as a student. And this year, I reported to you last time that we distributed about, I think it's about $4,500 in classroom supply assistance for students that we had right now coming to school. The emergency assistance, this is one that there's been some gray areas in, if you'll hit the next. Just so everybody is clear on what the emergency assistance is, this is the definition as we have right now in our policy that we have for this. Emergency grant fund is for students with unforeseen financial emergency that would otherwise prevent them from continuing to attend Tri-County Technology Center. So that's what defines an emergency assistance need. Right now, the way we have this, we have applications that can be picked up through the business office from Tammy Flynn. But what I want everyone to be thinking about is that we're all responsible for the students that we have here on campus. And sometimes the person that has a good relationship with the student might not be the teacher, it might not be the counselor, it might be someone else that is not right there within that classroom. So I want each of us as educators at Tri-County to be aware that there is an emergency assistance fund. And if you have a conversation or hear in passing of a student that is talking about something that is going to prevent them from continuing to attend Tri-County, please do your part in guiding them to the right direction for help. And realistically, what we see as the most common sequence of that is that a student would tell their instructor. The instructor would then notify, right now it's Brent Ryan, it might be Elaine Gott, as she's in that position, somebody in the Success Center, Jeanette, Mary, and let them know that the student has identified a need, okay? We have many different resources around our community that can help students. So maybe it's not going to be that it lands in the lap of this emergency assistance fund. It might be that we could guide them to Mary Martha. It might be that we can guide them to Salvation Army, whatever the different resources are. So we have to be frugal with our money so that we make sure we don't do something with money we have raised here that can be handled in an outside resource. And this is specifically for something that we need to handle in-house, okay? So we're looking at that because we want to make sure that students are understanding that there is assistance there for them in this situation. And we also need to make sure that all of us are good resources for guiding the students in that direction. Right now, the application is to be picked up from Tammy Flynn at the business office. And this is something that, as we go forward into January, there will be a change in how that application looks. I'll tell you that now. But for October, November, December, it's staying just like it is at this point. Gail has spent a lot of time working on that, and we're trying to identify what would best serve the student in an emergency as far as what information we need to gather from them to be able to have a fast turnaround in helping them, okay? So if you have further questions about this specific emergency assistance, please get a hold of me and I'll be happy to give you some more details with that. Thanks. We do have a budget. The foundation runs on a calendar year budget, January through December, so it is a little confusing because being here all these years, my brain kind of wraps itself around the July 1 to an end of June budget, but it is different. And I just wanted you to have an idea of the different areas that our revenue comes in from as far as the foundation is concerned. And right now you can see that for FY13, we budgeted a revenue of $106,700, which is money coming in. And we're currently at about $80,000. This was as of September 30th, and we're right on target to meet our expected goal for that. Last piece of information I want to share is that as of September 30th, just so you have an idea, we have a goal of $5 million by the year 2020. That's on our Vision 2020 plan. And we have been very methodically, slowly, putting the pieces in place to get the steps necessary to achieve that goal. So right now, if you want to know our exact dollar amount of what we have, at the credit union, our account has $129,000, the credit union performance fund, $50,000, and the Bartlesville Community Foundation has $212,344. So our total right now, what we have is $391,635.41. Okay? Questions on any of that? Excellent.
All right, let's thank Wendy Davis one more time for staying on. Get ready for the drawing. Others going to share our goals real quick.
First off, I want all of the committees for community relations to stand real quick. Dustin is our chair, so please thank them for our goal this year is $15,000 to help meet Jody's goal of 1.85. So, all right. So I have a few drawings. We have some Bartlesville Symphony Orchestra, and what it is a voucher. You can put in how many adults you want. I guess there's no limit. And there's several different dates. So we have you're welcome. So I have 4 tickets for that. One. Corinza. Me.
Take 9.
Lauren. Okay, we also have a little, it's like it has sticky notes and a calendar for your desk. Yes.
Deanne.
Jennifer Garris. Okay, now we have the big one, the 3 days off. Thanks to Mr. Fields. He allowed us to have 3 days. And he draws his name where it's Lydia Snyder.
Mix it up.
Lydia, you're on fall break today? Yes, and you're here. Thank you for being here. everybody very, very much. And I will hand it back over to Jane.
Few housekeeping issues, and if you have not given a copy of your insurance cards and those signed waivers to Levon, please do so as soon as possible. Also, we did do Jean's Day. We have Jean's Day buttons up here for you to grab. Are there any other announcements? Okay, everybody have a great weekend.